So with our lovely Mr. T, he says, look at me, lady. So I really love working, as you can tell, sometimes working with a settle or place behavior. Remember that we don't want to pair this with he's in trouble or something scary or he's feeling trapped. So remember, when they're working on going to a spot to veg and relax, it should be pleasant and not overwhelming. So if, let's say, company coming over is really hard for your dog, I wouldn't instantly pair it with a place behavior if they don't quite know how to handle that exuberance or that level of difficulty. So remember, we're trying to set up our babes for success, which means that sometimes the stages at which we're practicing are attainable for them. So right here, I might go again and get a little sit. Yes. So with Mr. T, I'm just going to warm up first with getting him to the place and then having that have a reinforcement. Right now, he's smelling all the previous friends that may have been sitting on this mat, which is perfectly fine. So I might go ahead and just see if I can get his attention. I'm going to ask him to go to his bed. Yes, and then feed him for that. So he wouldn't have to go right into a sit or a down. If right now we're first starting off with just going to the target and building value like we did earlier for Miss M, is we want to start practicing that just being at the target has a good reinforcement around it. So right now, yes. He's like, yes, ma'am. So his little ear's a little bit flopped. I'm just going to fix his beautiful ear. There we go. Gorgeous. So now, Mr. T, we might work a little sit. Yes. And then see if we could work a little bit with the stay. So if, let's say, the stay is newer to him, which again, he's been doing this for a little bit with mom as well, but it's again, new environment, not home, different blanket, not his usual target. So sometimes this whole process of generalization does take a bit of obviously several good reps to get them in the groove. So right now, if let's say I was just building value and going to this weird target versus mom's dog bed at home, we may find that sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to get into the same groove he would have been at home. So right now I'm just going yes, and I'm marking him being stationary on his mat and creating value in being in our spot. So right now for Mr. T, let's say he's doing a really great job with it. Yes, and I feed. Awesome. And again, yes. So sometimes too, the puppies are also hearing. So obviously if he gets up and takes a little moment, no big deal. There are times throughout the building where other folks are doing their thing in the setting too, outside of my zone. And sometimes they're hearing those different noises and getting a little distracted. So he replaced on his mat. I'm going to feed him for that because that was a really great decision. Yes, and feed for that. What a smart boy. Yes. So let's say we're going to work a little bit with the stay compared to just going and targeting the mat. What I would recommend is if at times you're just setting him up and just getting cozy with that dynamic, you don't have to apply the stay unless you wanted to work with your stay behavior. So remember with stay, we would tell him to, let's say he's on his mat, I'm going to apply the stay. And then let's say he's getting a little bit more comfortable with me adding some distractions. Distractions, again, could be the environment, but it could also be what you're doing around them. So let's say Mr. T has been doing a really great job going to his target and working through some of this duration, distance, and distractions. Remember, we don't want to do all three of those at once, like I mentioned earlier for Miss M with the 3 Ds of training. So right now, he's doing a great job kind of hanging out in his bubble. If me adding distance equaled Mr. T constantly got up, so if let's say he broke and I didn't want him to get up yet, I might go ready, bed, reset him up, tell him once more to stay. He's like, did you throw it yet? So sometimes when I'm using my hands, he's hoping I'm tossing snacks, which is, a good guess. So right now, as he's doing, again, another stay repetition or 2, I would tell him to do his stay. He's just hearing some of the noises from the building. And I'm going to feed him several snacks while being stuck in a sit or a down stay. Yes. 2, if your babe was ever doing a down position, you can also feed them while being in a down position. He says, guys, I hear my neighbors making funny noises. So again, I'm going to feed him throughout this. So remember, there could be distractions in the building itself, and that might cause some difficulty for the pup. So if, let's say sometimes your babe is like, you know what, I really can't handle this, don't keep working it if they keep failing. So if, let's say Mr. T was, you know what, down stays or sit stays or a bit trying when I'm hearing some funky noises from the building, we might go, Teddy, come, and work maybe a simpler or easier skill set. So remember, if your babe says, you know what, this is kind of a little trying, remember to also listen to them in the training process. Maybe now Mr. T says, you know what, I'm feeling more comfortable with the weirdness that is this building with the funny noises. Maybe we'll try again for the stay and see how we do. So again, while he's there, we're feeding several snacks. Remember, for the stay behavior, you want to have a release word. So we might say, all done, and give him some attention, and then he gets up, but there's no snacks for getting off his mat. So again, for Mr. T, as he's practicing this targeting behavior, we want to make sure that it's still done while he's feeling safe and comfortable. If there's moments where things are just too hard for your babes, like you're going to have company over for the holidays, or there's going to be a lot of madness going on because you've got repairs going on at the house, those would be moments where I wouldn't try to work your starting point of skills with a really big thing going on in the background or right there in front of them. Those would be moments where management and prevention might be your better bet. So that might be where, okay, we're going to set up the puppy in a separate room. We're going to give them some special chews, give them an outlet to work on, make sure they've gone to the restroom and had their needs met. So Teddy, he's like, hold on, lady, this wall smells amazing. Ready? Yes, what a good boy. So we'll pop a few snacks here for a little find it. So if your babes couldn't handle the situation, don't put them in it. So sometimes avoiding the setup where they're gonna fail is better for your training than it is to just see and hope it goes well, and then maybe it turns into a hiccup or a failure. So again, we might bring him back to his little bed. He's like, lady, I don't know if I feel like doing this one as much. If, again, he wants to find some of the snacks, awesome. If he's a little bit pooped out, we'll work a few other skills too. So, but when practicing with your target zone, I would recommend to sometimes also, ready, we might even do a little find it, give him a little breather, is to give him breaks throughout it. So if you do a few reps and it's almost turning into like boot camp where all we're doing is working stationary positions, that could make your dog feel that staying might be a bit lame or that it's just too much work for the effort. So make sure your trainings, ready, Teddy, stay nice and short and sweet. So come, and let's say there's no response again. Remember, you're gonna get a little closer. Ready? He's like, lady, I swear there's more friends somewhere. So if, let's say, he's very distracted by the environment, he might need a little restroom again. We did just go out, but sometimes, ready, find it, there could be moments where your babes, because this was a doggy environment prior to becoming a training facility, a lot of them might view it as a great place to go to the restroom because it was a doggy daycare for almost 10 years before I moved in. Nice job, Mr. T. So for a lot of the puppies, even though I've done my darndest to clean up the facility and it is sanitized, your babe's sense of smell is so acute that sometimes they do pick up on odors from previous friends, and they might want to leave their message behind as well for others to read. So I do find that at times there could be moments where they get a little, distracted and a little confused, which is fine. So again, Teddy, yes. Nice job. So we'll take a little break from that one, sir. That was very good.